Is there God in the human design system? I've talked about it before, but I've never called it out this directly. I have taught an entire certification program on rave cosmology where Ra Uru talks about the gods. So I want to break this down for you and want to explain to you what this means. I've also certified in the Godhead, where he also brings in all of the gods. And this is really important because this is exactly how Ra discusses God. First, we have rave cosmology, where he talks about the trigger, the encounter, and then the guide. So, according to Ra, his event with the voice was an encounter. These encounters are access to higher intelligence that come through for us to share and educate the world. Very similar to what spiritual communities would call a channel. And his encounter was something that brought forth the voice, and it brought forth human design, which was an epic and powerful, and is an epic and powerful system that has completely changed my life. I will never say anything bad about it. However, the way the gods are taught in rave cosmology is that they are one of the guides. Now, Ra says there are the angels, the demons, the ghosts, the gods, the entities, and the aliens. Now, did he believe that there were actual aliens? No, he did not believe that there were actual aliens. Now we're in a different time in history and there's a lot more disclosure. Maybe he would think differently now. Did he believe in God? No. He said that the gods, the entities, and the aliens were the higher vibrational frequencies aligned to the Christ, the Buddha, the higher divine energies that are available for us to tap into in order to channel. He saw the gods is the same as the entities, the aliens, and the gods. They were benevolent forces that brought us new education. Now, the demons, the angels, and the ghosts, according to Ra, these were guides that also were benevolent, but due to our transference, we saw them in a negative light. So our transference is like saying our not self. So in motivation, I'm innocence. When I'm in desire, then I would see an encounter with, maybe if it was an encounter with an entity, I would see a demon. So the transference created a misinterpretation of the energies. According to Ra, all education came through the top entities, which was the aliens entities or the gods. It didn't come through any of the lower entities. And this was his interpretation. He also talked about transference causing the misinterpretation of what the gods were, and that people put gods up on pedestals and religions, and he put all of it in that same category. This never really sat well with me, but in some ways it made sense. There are encounters, there are channels. People channel these vibrational frequencies, and if you are in your transference mind, you misinterpret it. That is 100%. I've seen it over and over again. People get in heightened energy and they misinterpret their spiritual experience. This is absolutely, and it's happening across the board all the time. So if you don't know your not self, you don't know your human design, you're in transference, then it's very easy for the mind to misinterpret any type of spiritual experience. Spiritual delusion is very, very prevalent, especially now with all of the misinformation and the heightened energy that we're in. We have a heightened opportunity, and in this heightened opportunity, we have the ability and the potential to awaken. But there is so much misinformation around the spiritual awakening and the conspiracies. And I've heard people talking about the trapped souls and all of this nonsense, fear, information. So many people talking about the conspiracies, the reptilians, the clones. It's no wonder people cannot have a true spiritual experience because there's so much clouding and so much confusion. Personally, I have always had deep connection and experience with God, with the Creator, with the light, with love, with the universe, with the frequency of light. So sorting through where that fits in with human design was a little bit like, here's my belief in God, here's my career in human design. But I hit a ceiling. I started noticing that there were conflicts that were not able to be resolved in human design communities. I had issues with friends. I was kicked out of Jovian. I watched people that I respected writing the books on the human design cult. There were a lot of things that were happening. Then it came to the point in my business where I couldn't take in any more human design information. I had read everything, I'd learned everything I could. The good news for that is that's when I know my soul is asking me to pivot and to try something new. Also, during this time, I was guided by my divine source to experiment with a state of cleansing. So I cleaned my vehicle, so to speak. I did a cleanse and I started having deeper and deeper connections to the divine source. It was easier and easier for me to meditate. I was feeling lighter. I was feeling free. I was feeling connected. I was feeling super joyful and alive and inspired. And somewhere within this cleanse, I was introduced to the Kabbalah in a new way. And it was not related to human design at all. It was just information about what the Kabbalah is. The basic foundation is that it is a spiritual technology. It shows us the blueprint of the soul. It shows us how we connect in with the infinite source. And it tells us that the infinite source of oneness, what they call the creator, and our connection to ourself, our consciousness, is the only thing that is real. And everything else is the illusion, the Maya. Ra Uru talked about the illusion in the Maya too, that this is all the Maya. And even when people asked about the guides, he would say, are the guides real? He would say, well, they're real in the Maya, meaning that there's an interpretation of the entities in the Maya. Ra also spoke on this vibration and frequency of no choice. So the no choice argument is very complex. Go research it. There's debates on whether we have choice, we have no choice because of our conditioning and because we're in these physical bodies and because the neurons firing brought us that thought. That thought was already there, was already implanted for us to move forward. We may think we made a choice, but it was really already all the things inside the chemicals of the body that were making that choice. And that is what Ra believed, that this vehicle sort of on a magnetic monopole is moving through time and space and there is no choice. Now, this Kabbalah believes the same thing. There is no choice in the Maya. There is no choice in the illusion, but you do have one choice. And that one choice is if you will bring the divine light into the experience of the vehicle. The minute you make that choice to bring in the connection to the divine light, that's when true miracles begin. That's when true healing begins. That's when we are really able to move through the reactions, the anger, the bitterness, the painful relationships, when we're truly given the answer to our career issues, when we're guided to our soulmates, when we can step into the energy of instantaneous healings. That divine light, according to the Kabbalah, is a very scientific, systematic process of aligning to our soul and our soul aligning to the creator. And then we have our vehicle, which is our body here on the earth, plane, moving through time and space. To me, as someone who is, I want to say I've always believed in God, but that's not true. The craziest thing about this is I am not religious. And as a matter of fact, I grew up in the Valley. I grew up in Hollywood. I lived in a very superficial world. I was an atheist. My dad was an atheist, and I was not religious until I was 21. I did my junior year abroad in England. I was traveling all over the world, all over Europe, Greece, Budapest, and then I ended up in Israel, and I took a discovery course that taught the Bible code, and I had my first spiritual awakening. Now, the Bible code is the same wisdom as the Kabbalah. And when I had that awakening, it changed my life. But what it did, it was it made me hungry to research the mystical and every religion. So I was driven to learn Buddhism. I was driven to learn Christianity and why this religion believes this. Why does this religion believe that? And I came to a fundamental understanding when I was in college that all the religions, if you study them all, come back to the same place: love and that connection to God. So again, I did not choose religion, I chose spiritual path. And my choice today in rediscovering the Kabbalah is to bring a more spiritual context to the teachings that I'm doing, to bring in the spark of light. Because what these ancient sages teach us is that we each have a unique spark of light. I have a quick announcement for you before we go further into this video. We do have a live event coming up. If you are interested in learning more about human design, the Kabbalah, how to speak online, how to unleash your genius, we have a live event covering just that. So look in the description below and I'll see you live. Our job here is to prepare the vessel, these vehicle intelligences, to prepare them to bring down more of our soul, more of our light into the physical vehicle. And the technology is how to do this and where and how it becomes off grid. So if you are fighting with someone or angry with someone, then you are having a crack in the soul's connection to the physical vehicle. If you're not living in the career or the absolute infinite wealth in the life, there's something missing in the way that we are thinking and living. Now, I searched and searched for human design to give me answers to a lot of these questions and didn't find them. And now, as we tap in, as I am tapping in to the Kabbalah and this ancient wisdom, we are discovering there is a pathway to freedom. So I want to start with one insight and one example. If there is somebody who has betrayed you or hurt you or broke your heart, the sages teach you that once your heart is broken, once you are in pain, this is the greatest blessing that you could be experiencing. This is your soul cracking open and letting you know that you are available for a greater portion of intimacy and love. So, for example, if you have a breakup in a relationship and you've never really felt that was your soulmate, usually it's your soul preparing you for a higher source of love. The problem is, once you have that breakup, the first thing that happens is that you go into the sadness, the depression, and the negativity and the negative thinking of that person. They were a narcissist. They hurt me. They were wrong. They did this. They abused me in this way. I'm not saying whether that's true or it's not true, but the negative thinking pattern when you have a breakup or an experience that's actually trying to awaken you, when you begin with the negative thinking, your entire level of physical consciousness actually literally goes down. The soul goes further away because the soul is looking for a clean vessel to enter, because the soul's purity is connected to the divine light. And if the divine soul and divine light hit into these physical vehicles with a lot of negativity, it would actually harm the soul. So the technology is like, let's just not go into that negative space down there. We all know that when we go down into too deep of the negative, like, but we can't be hurt or harmed because these are the physical vehicles that, we actually lose these physical vehicles and go into the infinite source, which nothing can injure the experience. But the soul can't really operate where there's a lot of negativity. So our job is to take these experiences that cause pain and heartache and shift the way in which we are seeing it, the way in which we are experiencing it, because our job here is to train the vehicle to act and live more as the light, and then take on the attributes of the light. So there's the connection point of the soul, which can then come through the physical vehicle. And once the soul comes through the physical vehicle, then you have access to all of the blessings available in the divine source, including your soulmate. So when there is a breakup, the way to bring the light into the situation is to realize the truth, which is your soul brought that for you to grow. Nothing in this life is here to victimize you. Everything is here for your designed by your soul to bring you greater insights and awareness. So your soul has brought in the breakup, brought in the pain of the situation for you to transform your thinking. So when you can bless the breakup, send all of your best wishes to whoever you just ended the relationship with, or even if it's a girlfriend or a friend that has hurt you, you bless them, you love them. You do not speak poorly about them. You do not add negativity to the situation at all. You begin the process of vibrating at a different frequency of light. And this technology brings forward a new availability for the soul to actually bring you to the level it's pushing you to, so that you can actually hold the love and the vibration frequency. And then once you can hold it in this vehicle, the reflection is that of a soulmate, because both have to earn the power and have to earn the awareness of the transformation of the negativity. You have to earn that by doing your inner work. So this is a soul technology for transformation in relationships, career, health, finances. And there are several layers to this wisdom, several insights, several dynamics, and it is precise. It shows us directly what we need to do. It is a map as clear as the human design map. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be so bold as to say that I believe that the 9 centers are a mirror to the 9 Sephiroth that are connected in the tree of life, with the Malkuth, which is the one Sephira in the tree of life that is the physical body, and that's the 10th. Now, this is just my theory, and I could be wrong, but I am mapping out how the human design system fits in to the Kabbalah. And with it are the miracles and the evolutionary stage of connecting with the divine light, understanding the God zone, the God force, the spark that is within, the one choice that we have, which is knowing that you and the light are the only truth. The rest is illusion, and in the illusion, you have no choice. So, this is the magical journey that we are taking, and I'd love to share the journey with you. Please let me know if any of that resonated with you. If you've been feeling the boredom, you've been feeling stuck, you've been feeling like something isn't giving you the answers that you need. If you feel like you've had a breakup you haven't been able to heal, or you have a ceiling in your career, or something just really isn't hitting correctly, you know there is more. Perhaps you need the spiritual technology of the ancient mystics to give you that little miracle, to tap you into the spark and the light of love and God that is your true nature, so that your life can be a reflection of the truth. You are infinite. You are loved. You are whole and complete. So I'm going to leave it there for today. But I do want you to know that we are just at the beginning. I'm going to share with you where this system came from, how it was dropped in, and very, very practical tools and techniques to bring it into your life, for a life of joy and a life that's filled with the God force, the light, the creator, and also how that fits in with your human design system.